Okay, and I believe we're live. The Deadman's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, with your host, Mr. Deadman, co-host. No, just joking. No co-host tonight. But guest with Kody Boye. Is that right? Is that how you say your name? Kody Boye?
Yes, that's how you say my name.
Kody Boye.
Yes.
Sounds all southern.
Yes.
Sounds like a good southern name. Come over here, Kody Boye. But that doesn't sound right though. Shit. Damn. Already. Not even a minute in, we already have geez, what is Mr. Devin saying to Kody Boye over here? All right, Kody Boye, you come on over here, man. Oh man. Okay, no, a quick announcement real fast. Okay, Deadman's Tome, He's Risen, is free this weekend because I'm all about giving. It is Easter holiday, Good Friday. I was feeling good. You know, I was like, let's give this issue out. It is this. We're talking. He's Risen is the zombie Jesus issue. It has Jesus versus zombies. It has Jesus coming back as a zombie. Jesus coming back, but not to save, to do a bunch of other things, and some biblical zombies. All that stuff. It's free for Kindle users. If you don't like Kindle or if you hate Amazon or something, you have some sort of political thing, I can't help you with that. But I can tell you, this is a pretty good issue and a pretty good deal. You don't want to miss out on it. So there you go. All weekend. The link is going to be in the description box below. And if it's not, then just search He's Risen on it on Amazon. Boom. Done. Since I'm taking a moment to chill, Kody Boye, you have anything you want to announce real fast?
Not particularly that I can think of. Yeah, no. I think I announced enough on Twitter and Facebook today.
Oh yeah.
Buffer wasn't working my scheduler for my posts, and it was bombarding people today, and I'm like, no. So.
So you use Buffer?
Yes, I use Buffer. Sometimes not very well, as some people would probably see today.
You know, Buffer is a nice tool, and that's something I learned very recently. I think, when I say recently, I'm talking about like early last year. So I guess it's been a while. And ever since I've been using it, it helped out a lot. You know, I don't have to worry about tweets or making sure I'm sharing something. And for those who don't know what Buffer does, and there's other apps that do the same thing, is you just preload your tweets or your Facebook posts or whatever. That way, if you promote a lot of stuff, if you're, you could plan it by the hour. And since Deadman's Home has a lot of different issues, I can change it up by the hour. This hour, Ancient Ones. Next hour, something else. He's Risen. Next hour, March to the Grave. Next hour, Book of Horrors. Next issue, the very first issue of Deadman's Tome, which was called Demonic Tome, which is where Kody Boye comes in. You see how I did that, Kody Boye? See how I did that?
Yes. Yes.
I say your full name. Like, should I call you Kody or Boye?
I don't mind, honestly.
Don't mind? Okay.
Don't mind. Yeah.
All right. Well. All right, Kody. So how are things going?
Things are going all right on my end. Not much is happening, obviously, other than my buffer experiment, which kind of failed today. But nope, I haven't been doing much today. Just bleached my hair, and that's pretty much it.
Hey, easy day. It's Good Friday,
Yes. Yes, very Good Friday.
Yeah. So how are things been on the writing scene for you?
They've been pretty decent, actually. Was it earlier this year or last year? I just finished wrapping up my When They Came series not too long ago, and I'm in the process of arranging a book blitz with a young adult book tour website, YA Bound Book Tours. So you'll be seeing more of that in April. So hopefully that'll gain some more visibility for that book, which I really like. And beyond that, I'm running 2 different Patreon and Radish Fiction exclusive serials. And beyond that, not much is happening on my end. So
Okay. Pretty cool. So So you're going into young adult. It sounds like you've been doing young adult for a while there, is that right?
I've been doing young adult books primarily for the past year or so.
Yeah.
The last book I put out was called Nightfall, which was the end of my zombie series,
Mm-hmm.
the the daylight cycle. And then after that, I was like, what do I want to do with this? And I was most of my ideas featured younger characters in their teens, so still in horrific or fantastical environments, but they still revolved around younger people around 15, 16, 17.
Okay.
So I was like, why not just tailor that into young adult stuff? So, and that's what I've been doing as of recent.
Seems like a pretty good leap. I can see that. I can totally see
Yeah.
that. Oh, we got some chatter in the chat here. You see, Marchese, I told you earlier before we started about the fan. Marchese here's the fan in the background. It now is a combination of my fan and your fan. See, look at that. Marchese, all that is I don't know what to tell you. His background noise is. I don't know what to tell you about that, man. But so so we crossed paths on the very original, the very first issue of Deadman's Tome a long time ago. Do you even remember how long? Do you remember anything about that?
I remember some about that. Not a whole lot. My teenage years were kind of a blur, but
Yeah.
not for particularly great reasons, mind you. But
Okay.
yeah, but no, I think it was about maybe 9 or 10 years ago now, wasn't it? Maybe
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a decade. It's literally been a decade. So look at that. And
Yeah.
it's still a small, relatively obscure publication, and people are like, okay, what? But yeah, a decade. Wow.
Yeah.
So, in that story, Duppy, right? Am I saying that right? Duppy?
It was called Duppy. Yes.
Duppy. Yeah, that's right. That was it. Man, that issue, I can't believe, man, think about that issue, brings up so many memories. Like, the first time putting that thing together, going through the process, crazy. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
Just kind of flying right on the seam of my pants, if you will. And just doing whatever. But when you now that's my reflection of that issue. When you reflect and think about Duppy, like what are your thoughts?
First off, that I was mad because I couldn't find a program to open the file because it's that old. That manuscript file won't open in Microsoft Word. I think I wrote it in like Word Perfect or something when that was the big word processor.
Oh, you can't even access your own story.
I can't even access it. It's still in my computer.
Oh, I can
but
send it to you. It's an archive.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I think about some of that older stuff of mine, and I'm like, and then, but I was much younger then, and because I was in my teens when I wrote that, early teens, and I personally don't think I started writing that great of fiction until I was about 17 or 18. So, but I did start with publishing and stuff when I was 14. So,
You got published when you were 14?
Yeah, that was in the Yellow Mama webzine.
Yellow Mama. Are they still around?
Yellow Mama. They're still around. Well, their website is still up at least. I recently found my first story they put out, my only story they put out, called A Prom Queen's Revenge, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's still up. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a blast from the past kind of thing.
I gotta check this place out. Yellow Mama.
Yeah, it's called Yellow Mama. At the time, I believe Cindy Rosmes was the, I think I'm saying her name right, was the main editor for the publication. and it was pretty cool. It was a really nice first time publishing experience, I should say. I got great edits on it. I got great feedback from some of the readers in it who read it, even though it was kind of not. It wasn't a bad story, I'd say. It just wasn't very polished.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
it's
just pulling up the site real fast. They are still around. Yellow Mama. Issue 66, February 15, 2018. Now, of course,
they're still going. Okay.
I will have to say, just looking at it real fast, the first thing that comes up is it's a tripod website. I'm like, whoa, that shows age. Tripod. Does anyone even... Marchese, if he's still listening, may know what tripod is. You may know what tripod, what GeoCities, what Homestead, any of these things, and you know what they are, and you used them, you're old. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You've been around. You know the internet pretty well.
You still have your earthlink.com.net email. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Oh, they are, but you know what? You judge them based on what they're using to host their site. But they are still around. They have a small community. They seem to be active, and you know what? That's what matters. That's what matters. See, it's not always about the quantity of people that come to you, that watch your stuff or read your stuff. It's about, I guess, the quality. If you have a small community that enjoy your stories or your content, then so be it. Grow from that, I guess. Maybe that's all you get. Maybe that's all, but that's okay. Have fun with it.
Definitely, and that's been my main goal throughout everything I do. Is like, if I'm not having fun with it, then what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, what's your fiction right now? What you're working on right now? I mean, do you feel that you have a small following?
I feel like I do have a small following, but they're kind of invisible. So, I know I have a following because I get Amazon sales and I get a paycheck from them every month. So
that's nice. That's more than some people can say. That's good.
Yes, definitely. So I'm very grateful for everyone who does read my work and who does take the time to review it or even just read it. I see that I see within my numbers that I do have a readership. So
that's good. That's good.
That's very good. Yes.
And what happens when you... I noticed that you have a lot of series. Like, you have a zombie series you mentioned before. It looks like they're all kind of titled by times of the day, like first light, sunrise, afternoon,
and then nightfall.
Nightfall. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, are you done with that series? Are you gonna do any more?
I am done with that series.
Are you sure?
Because I say that now, but.
Okay. There you go.
I started writing Sunrise, the first book. Well, it's technically the second book, but the first book, zombie book I wrote was Sunrise, and that was back in 2009, 2010. And then I put out First Light, the first book, in like 2012, 2013, and then people were like, "You should do another one," and I'm like, but I don't really like zombie books that much. I love zombie movies, mind you. It's just the books are, because I mean, for me personally, with my stuff, I only felt I could stretch the zombie thing so far, and I know other people can really stretch it.
Yeah.
And do lots of cool stuff with it, but within the parameters I'd built that world around that the daylight cycle takes place in, I couldn't really stretch it too far. So for now, that series is over. If I'm going to do zombies again, it's most likely going to be a different series. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
But the reason why I was asking you, though, and you kind of revealed it already. What if one of your fans was like, "Hey, I really like this series. I think you could expand on this way. We want another. Yeah. Would you say no to them?
I mean, I ended the last book in a way that it's done, but I could go on with it if I wanted to.
Nuclear explosion, like the whole world blows up. no room for any more sequels. It's a game over.
I tell people if they want to quit writing a series or make it done, you have a meteor hit the Earth. So yeah, just dinosaur level asteroid. So,
damn. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Then that way you can start fresh with whatever else comes after humanity.
Yeah, that way any of your fans that are following the series be like, well, damn, I guess there's no way she's coming out from that.
There's no way. Yeah.
But
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I noticed the first light is free right now.
Yeah, first I've fallen into a certain pattern with some of my releases. I tend to release the first book, and then after a while I do make them perma-free, the first book in the series. So
how do you make it perma-free?
You bug Amazon. You upload it to the other markets, set it for free, and then you tell Amazon through their dashboard, like, hey, I want to price match this. Your results may vary. They like me for some reason, and they've never said no to me for a price match, but other people have had nightmarish times getting their books price matched.
Gotcha. Yeah, I heard about that, and same thing. I was hoping maybe there was an easier process, so put it on something like Smashwords and have them put it up on Kindle and then like for free and have it.
Yeah, I would recommend Draft to Digital over Smashwords.
Yes, that was an example. Yes.
Yeah,
the last time I used Smashwords was like, actually I don't even recall. I think it was like 3 years ago, and I was like, I don't know about this. People were telling me about it. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I still don't know about Smashwords.
Some people make money off Smashwords, and I've seen it on the Kindle boards, the website where they're Kindle forums. Mm-hmm. It's just called Kindle boards, and I've seen people talk about the money they make off Smashwords, and I'm like, well, I never made that much money off them.
Well, and since we're talking about money, do you mind sharing, ballpark? I mean, how much you probably make? If you're comfortable with that.
I tend to make around anywhere from $100 to $300 a month off of my writing, so it's not a lot right now, but it's enough. I'm not complaining about that amount. That helps
it's
me
enough to pay some bills. It's enough to pay a cell phone bill, maybe even enough to pay a car note if it's consistent.
Yeah, if it's consistent, yeah. But the income fluctuates. So, but that highly depends on how much you're promoting, what's going on in the publishing world right now, what other authors are doing, and the economy, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these books, looking at the zombie series now, is this self-published or did he?
I started out with traditional publishing.
Okay.
Primarily in my teens, I released Sunrise through a small press called Library of the Living Dead Press, which also has a podcast attached to it. I'm not sure if they're still doing their podcast.
Kind of like the DEADMAN'S Tome.
Yeah, kind of like DEADMAN'S Tome. Yeah, Dr. Puss was the man who
Dr. Puss. That's a good name. Fuck.
Yeah, Dr. Puss is really cool.
Could you imagine having that handle? My name's Dr. Puss.
And he went by it too, even at the conventions we went to.
Ooh,
he went by Doc because the guy was a dentist, so you can still call him Doc.
Hold on, he's a doctor, he's a dentist, and which aren't really real doctors. Come on now. he's a dentist, and his name is Dr. Puss.
Yep.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
That was his character, Dr. Puss, the zombie dentist.
What if it was what is doctors called? The zit doctors, the skin doctors, dermatologists.
Yes.
Yeah. That would, man. All you need is a doctor who's a dermatologist, and be like, I'm taking that name from you. I'm the real Dr. Puss.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, look at that. I don't know. It's a cool name. I would fight for it, Dr. Puss.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure if He's still doing his podcast anymore. I haven't checked up on him recently. I know he took a break, and I'm not sure if that break has been extended or not. So, but he published Sunrise when he did his small press. So, going back to that, I started doing small press primarily publishing back in when I was a teenager. So I would submit to magazines like DEADMAN'S Tome, and Yellow Mama webzine, and Brave Blue Mice webzine published a few of my stories, and I did that, and then after a while, I wasn't say happy, but I was producing so much content at a point where I couldn't keep just bombarding publishers with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why not just self-publish it? And I had the capabilities to do that.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. So your problem was that you're creating so much content, you couldn't give it all to the publishers. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, at a point I was.
Okay, for anyone who's a writer listening to that, wrap your mind around that. Kody Boye's problem was that he was just writing so much, like a freaking machine. The publishers just couldn't keep up. You couldn't keep up.
I was writing anywhere from 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 words and up a day at one point.
Like with Adderall?
Oh no!
Were you using Adderall, lines of Coke? What's your secret? Come on now, coffee.
I'm bipolar, so when I go manic, I can do pretty much whatever I want. Not anything I want.
So you channel your manic episodes into something like this.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And that's when I was not well medicated, I should say. Some of the content was not great. I released one book that I went back to like 2 years later, and I was like, what did I do with this book?
And you
what was
released
I thinking?
And you released it?
I had released that book already, but I went back and that was the glory of self-publishing. I could fix everything with it.
That is true. That is true. And that's the other thing. So how do you feel about self-publishing versus traditional?
I believe they both have their benefits and their not so good parts.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I like to be able to be in control of a lot of stuff, primarily my ability to price stuff. That's a big issue for me. So you won't see like a $9.99 ebook from me unless it's a big collection of stuff, like some publishers put out.
Mm-hmm.
But I primarily like self-publishing mostly because I can put out my own content when I want to on my own dime. I don't have to wait a year or so to undergo a release process. I can create my own cover art or have other people I want create it for me, and I have the final say in that. And I have the ability to do my own formatting because that's what I do on the side of my regular day job. I format stuff for people for publication.
I see. Okay.
So that's how I feel about the whole process. I won't go into detail about why I don't. Some of the worst experiences I've had with not self-publishing, with traditional publishing, but I prefer self-publishing, I should say.
Okay.
And unless someone came to me with a really good deal with traditional publishing, which I have had at some points, and when I had an agent back a while ago, I did have a good deal, and we worked with that. And but since I don't have an agent anymore, I'm just kind of coasting the wind right now.
Gotcha.
Doing my own.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like from what you said that you definitely have experience, though. I know you said you didn't want to go into I guess the worst examples, but so you had experience of the release process from a traditional publisher versus just doing it on your own.
Yeah. I mean, if you dig far enough into my stuff, you can find what publisher I'm talking about, but I won't talk about that. obviously for
some bad
Yeah.
names, huh?
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I wouldn't even say it was particularly bad. It just disappointed me.
Oh.
So it wasn't like nightmarish,
So,
like I've heard some people
of course,
stories.
looking at your stuff right now, if I choose to one, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not gonna say the name either. I'm not gonna say the name. Okay. All right. Man, you do have a lot of. Well, you have a lot of content. You have a lot of books.
Yeah.
And short stories.
Yeah. I did rearrange my short fiction onto a blog because I just had so much of it. I think I had like 30, 40 short stories that I had more than that, mind you, but stuff I felt was good enough to put out after I went through it again. I compiled it into Material Things, which is what I call my short fiction compilation. And you can find that free online. So since I couldn't ever sell my short fiction after I self-published it. So, yeah. Just wasn't a popular market, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I see some people trying to put their short stories. Some people have success, but by success of a short story, I mean, especially if it's by itself, you're not talking, gangbusters. You're talking just like a few dollars. I don't know.
Yeah. Because at some points you're gonna get readers who are like, I'm not paying 99 cents for a short story.
Yeah.
I had a friend who got complaints about before serials were popular, mind you, serial fiction. I had a friend who got complaints about her writing because it was quote unquote too short at 40,000 pages. Or not pages, words. And now that's kind of becoming a typical thing with some of the ebooks from independent publishers and authors.
Yeah, I see that too. When I read the reviews and someone says, "Oh, this book ended too short," but then I see like the book is a series, I'm like, and they'll be like, "Oh, they just did it on purpose and contrived because it's a series." I'm like, "Well, it is a series."
Yeah, and not all of us are George R.R. Martin or Robert Jordan in terms of how much content we can produce in one series or in one book.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And besides, some of y'all turn out things faster than he does. I mean, how long does it take how long did it take you to write, let's say, Sunrise?
It probably took me 2 or 3 months to write Sunrise.
Okay. All right. And yeah. I haven't read it. I haven't read Sunrise. But let me take a look real fast. And we're talking about 3.5 stars on Amazon, which for Amazon is
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right. We're talking about 217 pages. And by the way, that's 3.5 stars with 22 customer reviews. And I know there's always trolls. You don't mind real fast. I think if I were to look, I think this guy's a freaking troll. Let's see. This guy might be the person I'm talking about. He says something. Okay. So this one's.
I know which way I think I know what your review you're talking about now that you mention it.
1 star MMMW. It should have a disclaimer that it is a book about male intimate relations. So what? You had dudes that were digging dudes. That
was primarily the daylight cycle started because when I wrote Sunrise, I was inspired by Brian Keene's Dead Sea, which also featured a gay male character, but I wanted to go and try my own thing with the zombie genre at that point, and that's what I did. I wrote Sunrise, and it's from my perspective as a gay male. That's how I wrote Sunrise, just from my perspective, because gotcha. You get a lot of people who don't write from that perspective, not that perspective, but from a perspective they understand, and I get that. But when it comes to certain like topics, like straight people writing about gay people, for example, you might not get it right all the time.
Oh yeah, I totally couldn't do it.
I
would feel like Oh, hold on here. The only way I could do it is if it was obviously like satire or totally, which doesn't really help anything anyway. But it's like, no, if I were to do that, it would sound like a freaking skit or something. It wouldn't read right at all, you know?
Yeah, and when I read Dead Sea, I saw some of the faults in that, and they weren't bad faults, mind you, but there was more that could have been done. So, because of that, I wrote Sunrise, and Sunrise does feature two gay men as the protagonists, and I do get flack for that, especially in the zombie genre, because there's still, at the time, there wasn't a lot. It was nearly non-existent.
Yeah.
There's still not very much of it now.
Yeah, I mean, so that 1 star. When I see that, and let's say I'm looking for a book, I'm like, this guy has more of a problem with the fact that there's like gay relationships in the book than he has a problem with the book itself. So whatever, that's bullshit. And let's see, the other one was like zombies are more of background story, whatever. Just okay. So another bullshit one. That's bullshit too. I hate these bullshit reviews. Do not waste your time. The zombies are more of a background, not background, but background story. Check that out. Hey, Kody Boye, did you know that the zombies in your story in Sunrise were more of a background? Like they were everywhere. They're everywhere, not just background. I know, right? Yeah. Everyone is more concerned about who is sleeping with who and if else is okay. And okay, well, okay. So and this kind of relates to my next question about with zombie fiction. So when it comes to writing like zombie novels, zombie horror, whatever. Like, what are some ways that you do that to make it not seem so repetitive? And I'm gonna go stemming from this bullshit 1-star review here. It's like, what do you expect? I mean, eventually zombies are just zombies, and you gotta have a story because it's like, you can't just run away from zombies all the time. So how do you change it up? What do you do?
For me, a good story revolves around the characters. Because if you have a situation like the zombie apocalypse, and there's not a compelling character to drive the story, what's the point? An example I like to use is Poppy Z. Bright's Exquisite Corpse. I don't know if you've ever read that novel.
No,
but it primarily takes place from the point of view of a necrophiliac serial killer.
Whoa. Hold on. A necrophiliac serial killer in a zombie apocalypse?
Yeah. No, not in a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, about to say, that would be their fucking wet dream right there.
Yeah.
They'd be fucking everything that moved.
Exquisite Corpse takes place in modern day Louisiana. Okay. And it was primarily the author, Poppy Z. Bright, primarily based it off of the Jeffrey Dahmer killings. And that it was inspired by it, I should say, not based off of. But you read multiple perspectives throughout the book, but the thing is with that book is the serial killer's perspective is compelling, and it makes you want to read that. Even if you hate the character, it's still compelling enough for whatever reason. For me, it was compelling because it was absolutely horrifying. And that's what I do with my own writing, is when I'm writing a story, I create situations based on what characters would do. So with Sunrise, for example, I created the zombie apocalypse. Well, not created, but I took a zombie apocalypse and took two characters, both gay men who were attempting to survive while still persist and have a relationship with one another in the midst of conflicting situations. Like at one point they're in a very homophobic environment, and then with other survivors, who aren't as
Texas.
much. Oh no, that one actually took place in South Dakota, which I didn't know much about.
Oh, okay.
It just was the environment I decided to write it in. But most of my new fiction is set in Texas, actually. So, yeah.
No, I was just thinking of some small country towns here in Texas. They still have some growing up to do.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've only lived here in Texas since 2010, and I've had good experiences in Texas, thankfully.
Oh yeah,
so.
I mean it's a huge state. You're gonna run into some areas that are like extremely liberal, run into some areas that are super conservative, and then some areas where it's like, what the fuck is going on over here? No one wants to get stopped over here. Shit.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories about certain places in Texas, so I understand what you're saying.
Oh yeah, man. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man.
I've never seen that movie, unfortunately.
Oh man, that movie is so good. Okay, but
I haven't seen a lot of the old classic horror movies that I should see.
It's good in the way that it was shot. It made it seem like it was real, and what it's based off of isn't even close to what it was anyway. But
yeah,
you've been in Texas for a while. I lived in Texas pretty much all my life. I could easily believe that there's a family so effed up, so fucked up. I'm my sense for myself now. So fucked up that they probably have some lineage of incest and some crazy things they do. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was talking about like how do you bring life into the zombie genre, and you did. And I have to ask you, do you have any advice for The Walking Dead? Because do you watch The Walking Dead?
I stopped watching The Walking Dead in season 3.
And that's my point exactly. That's my point. So
I stopped watching it. If you mind me saying, I stopped watching it not because I got bored, but because I got frustrated with some of the character development.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So, but I do love Carol. I still love Carol. She's my girl.
Carol's cool. Oh, Carol's I have no problem with Carol. Carol's not the. In fact, if you read the headlines, Carol's not the problem that people have. As the problem is with. Well, I mean, people seem to be hating Negan.
Yeah.
But
and that's another thing. From what I've heard, it doesn't sound like he might be compelling enough for some people to keep watching, even if the faults the character has. But I can't comment on that too much because I haven't seen it for
okay.
I think it's on its 8th season.
It's on its 8th season. You haven't seen it since 3, but you are aware that it's been tapering. I mean, have you heard about that? It's been kind of like losing some viewership. It's kind of like around season 1 levels or whatever. I don't know. It's a lot of. It's more like soap opera in the past few episodes than it has been. I don't know. It's just. I don't know what they could do. Maybe not to have so many episodes where it's just a bunch of drama and talking about what they're going to do and just do it. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, what is this? Is it like an action show, or is it like a drama flick about a bunch of teenagers crying over some stuff? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, and I mean, you could still do that in a story like The Walking Dead.
Sure,
but you have to pace it accordingly. You have to.
Yes.
You have to. Either you only have to drag it out for a certain amount of time.
Drag it out. That's what they do. I think that's their huge problem. No matter how good their premise is, maybe this is A&E's fault too, but they always drag out an episode. It's like there was a meme around, floating around. I'll probably find it real easy, about The Walking Dead. The sort of what to expect. Something happens in the beginning. What would your interest? But then it just nothing. Then something happens, and then boom, over. It's like, what?
It's kind of like it's a buzzkill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's why in terms of zombies, I always preferred Z Nation. I don't know if you ever watched any of Z Nation.
Z Nation was cool, but people didn't think
it started off kind of rough.
Yeah,
but it did get much better. Yes.
It has a comedic angle too.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about Z Nation is that it didn't take itself too seriously.
This is a dictatorship. did Rick even? Rick didn't say that. He said this is not a democracy. Is that right? No, but this is a dictatorship.
A dictatorship.
Carl. Oh, man.
You're saying it wrong. It's Coral.
Carl, get over here. I'm glad he's dead. I haven't seen it yet.
Spoiler alert.
Yep. Okay. So, wow. So I was saying a bunch of 1-star reviews, but this is a book, A Sunrise, that has good reviews, and you have plenty of 5 stars, 4 stars. So I wasn't shitting on it. I mean, you have 4-star reviews that love it. They love what you've written, and they seem to like your work, and they like you as a writer. So you do have a fan base, and they're not just invisible. You know.
Oh, I don't think they're invisible so much as they are kind of in hiding. Because I don't see some of my fans do reach out to me sometimes, but I have so many people on Facebook that I can't really determine who are fans and who are not.
Wow.
Because most of my people on Facebook are like colleagues or like writer related people. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. That does happen.
I mean,
Wait a second.
I kind of judge how many people are following my writing based on my newsletter count, and it's still a decent number. So. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good way to keep track.
Yeah.
That is a good way to keep track. You said your newsletter count?
Yeah, my newsletter count.
Okay. Now, how is that working for you? So you have a newsletter. I mean, how long have you been been running a newsletter?
Probably about 2.5 years now. Probably
Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
I feel like a lot of my recent brand building as an author has taken place in the past 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I haven't done a newsletter, and it sounds like I'm thinking maybe I should. Hearing about this right here, so anyone who's probably in my boat and that maybe been thinking about starting one or what have you, I mean, you would recommend it?
I would highly recommend it, if only because it helps you keep track of who might be interested in your work or who is interested in your work, and also it helps tremendously with announcing new content, because not with the recent exodus from Facebook due to all of the data conflicts and stuff.
Man, Facebook.
Yeah, it's the newsletter thing is still a way to reach out to people, because it's like, I know people are talking about leaving Facebook. Authors are talking about leaving Facebook, but I still feel it's one of the most valuable tools you can use at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I thought about it too, but what exactly am I going to do when I do? You know, a lot of this brand, DEADMAN'S Tome brand, recently has been because of Twitter and Facebook and, you know, just pretty much that, Twitter, Facebook, and the website, the blog. You know. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, but man, Facebook's been in trouble. Data's been leaked, and Android users, their phone calls and text messages have been used. It's like,
I'm convinced my Facebook app on my phone listens to me. So.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are, and they give you stories that make sense, and I have one too. I don't skydive. I have no reason to skydive, but if you talk about skydiving, next thing you know, you get ads for skydiving. It's like, what the fuck?
I had the same thing happen to me with the show Siren when I mentioned it. I was all the way across the other end of my apartment when I was talking about the show Siren, the new one with the mermaid in it. And I went back to my computer. I had my phone nowhere on me, nowhere near me. I went back to my computer, and there were ads for it on my Facebook. So,
wow.
Yeah, so
that is some cyber shit.
It may just be my paranoia.
I don't think it is, man. And that's what they say. That the naysayers are like, no, man, this is a coincidence. You're drinking that Alex Jones Kool-Aid. That's what you're doing. It's just a coincidence. That's all. Facebook is good. Mark Zuckerberg, he's good. He could do no wrong. He could do no wrong.
I'm not sure about that, but
I know, right? Man, it's like I wouldn't put much stock in that. I bet he could do a whole lot wrong. Jesus. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about the Facebook exodus. What happens? So if you are, those listening, have a backup plan. Start a newsletter.
yes, that I would highly recommend that above anything else. Newsletters, your blog, your website, because I mean, you still need to have a web presence as an author.
Mm-hmm.
It's an undeniable fact. I mean, I've helped my friend Rhiannon Frater. I don't know if you know her or not.
The name, yeah, I've seen her name.
She wrote As the World Dies. I've helped her, the Zombies series, As the World Dies. I helped her teach workshops at various Writers League of Texas stuff. And the authors are like, but I don't want to build a web presence.
It's so weird. I know we crossed paths before, but I don't think I've published anything from her. But I want to say I've seen her name come to me, but a long time ago. But,
yeah, she wrote As the World Dies, Pretty When She Dies. What else did she write? The Last Bastion of the Living. The name might be familiar because she's published by Tor. Her As the World Dies stuff is. Yeah.
Okay. Might be work. Cool.
Yeah. So, but going back to that, I have seen authors talk about not wanting to have a platform or to build a platform because it takes work. But yes, it does take a lot of work, and there is extra time involved with that. But if you want results, you have to put effort into creating those results.
You definitely do. You have to. It's not going to grow on its own. For example, you get, maybe $100 to $300 a month, but that's because. And what are your secrets, man? What are your secrets as a self-published author?
I honestly, wholeheartedly believe a lot of it has to do with my perma-free stuff, which right now is my First Light, which is perma-free. I also have my urban fantasy series, the first book, Blood Knight, available free. I have 2 of my fantasy series, the first books in those, available for free. And I'm planning on releasing another perma-free book here soon, probably in April sometime, to help spur along some more of my series. But I think perma-free is a really good option for people who don't have the money to advertise their book, because you can't beat free.
You really can't. If it's free right there, they'll read it. And my other way of getting around that, I don't have anything perma-free, but I have some things that are like Kindle Unlimited, so that people could read it.
Yes, and Kindle Unlimited is really a really good option for authors. I tend to, when I have clients come to me through my self-publishing services business, I usually recommend Kindle Unlimited to them, if only because the Amazon is such a big market. Even if you hate it, it's still a big market.
Giant market, massive, immense. So, and I experimented with that. I was like, what would happen if I were to take it off Unlimited and have all the stuff on other platforms? And I did that. I ran that for a month. And really what I found was, of course, as soon as I took it off of Unlimited, of course, all the Unlimited reads stopped, right? But also the book purchases also kind of stopped as well. It went down. So I was like, okay. But then when I put it back up, the readings went back up, of course. That's going to happen. But the book purchases kind of became a little bit more frequent again. Okay. There's something to this. There's something to it. I mean, it takes a lot of readings. It takes a lot of pages to mean much of anything. But if they read like crazy, if they read it, you're going to get something for it.
I mean, there are people making their money off Kindle Unlimited. So, I mean, a lot of my income does come from Kindle Unlimited, and that's why I do keep my other series, the other books in my series, available only through Kindle Unlimited. I've had people email me asking, are you going to take them down and put them on, make them go wide as they refer to it on Nook, on Kobo, on iTunes, stuff like that. But I can't really afford to do that, so I need the extra income from Amazon. So, and that's where it's coming from anyway.
Yeah.
I look at my comparing my free stuff, the downloads on Amazon, to the other markets. I just don't see going wide as viable at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I have a few titles that are still on multiple platforms, and I mean, I don't really see any movement on those like Kobo. Like, what is a Kobo? I have no idea what a Kobo is. I know the Barnes and Noble site, their Nook or whatever. I have Real American Horror is available there. Which, by the way, since I'm bringing that up, it was one of the top 10 horror anthologies of this year. No, of last year. Awesome. But it's cool. Right. Awesome. I have to gloat every time I talk about it. But it was like 9 of top 10, but still top 10. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's on different platforms, but it only really moves on Kindle. It only really moves on Amazon. Every now and then when I check my stats off of, coming from other places, I see something, and that's kind of like surprise me money. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but it's not like a whole lot. It's like, oh, okay, that's some pocket money. I will keep track of those stats, and because I pay out royalties, I have to keep track of everything, and that's a pain in the ass. I'm like a bookkeeper, and like, okay, what's going on here? So the other thing is, now, is your bread and butter young adult? Are there other genres that you find more lucrative, or I don't know if that's the right word for this, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Most of my fiction up until the last year and a half, 2 years, has been adult fiction. Primarily, my big sellers right now are my zombie series, and that's obviously an adult-related storyline. Not that there's anything like overly graphic in it other than the violence, but this is my zombie series. I do write adult erotic stuff under another name, and there's money coming in from that. And then there's also the young adult stuff, my When They Came series, which is which brings in some income as well. So it's mostly from 3 series at this point, or I should say 3 series and 1 book. But Amazon, most of my income does come from Amazon.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely. So would it be fair to say that for anyone who's self-publishing or starting out and who's just writing horror, because you wrote horror too, but would it be fair to say maybe it might be in your best interest, well, continue to write horror, but also check out other genres as well, or diversify, or because
I personally, I released horror is still a good market. It's still a very good market. I have a fantasy series. It didn't do very well. Well, it didn't. It hasn't been doing well recently. It did well a few years back, but primarily, I feel that is recent failures with that has been due to the fact that I haven't released the final book yet.
Yeah,
because they were huge. They were huge books, like 200,000 plus word books, epic fantasy.
Whoa, that's a commitment right there.
Yeah.
And the fans were reading it. They expected a follow through. It never happened.
Yeah.
And they moved on.
Due to my mental illness, I was not able to release the 5th book at the time. And I think they moved on. So I feel like fantasy hasn't been working for me. But urban fantasy, depending on if you're able to latch onto a market, is still also very good. And then science fiction I found is also really decent, which When They Came, my young adult stuff, is science fiction. Well, alien dystopian, apocalyptic science fiction. So it kind of bridges the horror genre in a way.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, and speaking of When They Came, because that's the other one. Now, that one I read a little bit of. Oh, looks pretty interesting. It looks cool. Aliens come down, or there's alien invaders, but it's like it's not really what you think. It's kind of different. I like that. So, what was your inspiration? What was your inspiration for that? When They Came?
When They Came was originally a short story called Animals. Animals was about a man, his wife, and his baby son who were trapped in their apartment building or their home. I can't remember which because it's been so long since I wrote the story. As creatures with yellow eyes looked into their home, waiting for them to come out. So when I wrote When They Came, it was actually, I wrote the opening scene the night before I moved up here to Fort Worth from Austin.
Gotcha.
When They Came tells the story of a young woman named Anna Mia 6 years after the alien beings have come and taken over the planet Earth. And it primarily centers around her struggle as she comes of age in a world where you can't be a normal teenager anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recall she was like in a detention center, like a juvenile. Is that right? It's kind of like
yeah. She was in her juvenile education system.
So she's like a bad girl.
I guess you could kind of say that in a way. She struggles with the fact that her father was harvested, and then later it becomes reveals that he may have been experimented on by these creatures, the aliens.
Gotcha.
She struggles with that,
mm-hmm.
and as a result of her sister's involvement in a civilian-run military organization called the Midnight Guard, she joins too. And it tells her story as to how she joins this Midnight Guard, what happens when she finally does leave the walls after 6 years of her community, after being trapped within them that whole time. And then it tells what happens beyond that. So people have compared it to The Hunger Games, The Passage by Justin Cronin, Falling Skies, which I have not personally seen, so I can't comment on that. And
I haven't seen that one either.
And it's the book series Insurgent. So I feel like it's probably my strongest work I've released yet.
And when you were working on When They Came, this whole series, you did the cover art, the formatting, the editing, obviously the writing.
I arranged all of that. I found a stock image for
mm-hmm.
When They Came's cover. I did the type myself through a program called Canva with a layout they did. It was initially put through Kindle Scout's program, where they're crowdsourcing.
I was going to ask you about that too, because I would imagine you'd be in that program. Kindle Scouts.
I was in Kindle Scout for the first 2 books, and it didn't go anywhere, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it did gain some visibility for the books that way. But I did that, and then I had a friend, Tiffany Woodbeck, edit the first book. And then I did all the formatting for the paperbacks and the ebooks on my own. And then for the second book, I had my roommate, Corey, do the cover art for that.
And because of that, you don't have to worry so much of spending a whole lot of money on getting these things done, it sounds like.
Yeah. If I can't afford to do something, I try to swap services. So like if I can't afford to have my work edited, because editing is undoubtedly going to be the most expensive part of your project. I trade editing services or revision services with other
That's pretty
authors.
smart. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. And I mean, it's depending on who it is, you can get pretty crisp results from that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I also recommend to people, to authors, if they can't afford editing, which I charge for content editing myself because I do content developmental editing for other authors. I charge for that, and it can rack up pretty pricey after a bit, depending on how long your book is. So if you can't,
I can imagine so. The back and forth and wanting, it can add up real fast.
Yeah, because I mean, most people charge between $1, $2.50 a page, and depending on how they want your book formatted, they might want it double spaced.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could be like $400 easy.
Wow.
For one pass. But I reckon
no, I'm not spending that much money. Are you kidding me? Like, it would be a hard sell to convince me to do that for Deadman's Tome. Be like, I'm comfortable with this being like a pulp horror lit thing. It's gonna have some roughness to it.
Yeah.
I'll have someone else look it over with me and do that sort of thing,
Yeah, and I mean, as long as you can have a second set of eyes on your work, I feel that it will improve your work a lot.
And what happens? What happens, Kody, when, let's say, you make an embarrassing mistake, you publish a manuscript, self-publish, and OMG, oh my God, there's like some embarrassing thing you missed or something. What happens? What's the worst? I mean, come on, tell me what happens.
The worst, you get dinged for it on a review.
Okay.
But the upside to that, to self-publishing, is that you can go in and fix the mistake and then re-upload the book. Unlike the horror story I've heard where this one author, whom I won't name, had a print run with a traditional publisher in which they forgot to insert the character description. So instead of a character description, it said in brackets, insert character description here.
Oh, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And that was by a hold on here. And that was by a traditional publisher?
Yes. From what I understand, because this was told to me secondhand.
That was by a, quote, gatekeeper of content, traditional I just
yeah, and I've seen some
there.
others. I've seen some other stuff recently where I was like, oops, from traditional publishers. But that's the thing with self-publishing. You can upload a new manuscript and then it's live within 24 or 72 hours on Amazon.
Yeah, I like that ability to do that. But here's the thing. Now, I said that was the worst scenario. Give me the worst. How often does that even happen? What usually happens when someone notices something?
I mean, I'm trying to think of my own personal experience. For me, one of my worst experiences was when I uploaded the wrong manuscript to a book. And thankfully, someone contacted me that very same day and was like, "You put the wrong manuscript in this file." And
Ninja edit real fast.
I'm like, oopsie. And then I switched it over. And thankfully, Amazon's cool with that and will let people know if that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, that was my worst error I've made.
From my experience, usually people are reasonable. Of course, it's the internet. You're going to get trolls. You're going to get people who are just, like, they don't give a fuck. But usually, they'll just say, yeah, the book had this issue. If they know you've no way to contact you, they'll let you know. Oh, I noticed this, that. I could change that. I got maybe like a 2-star review once for, like, the book was not, they were expecting the book to be erotic, but it wasn't erotic. But I could see how they could see that because it involves a lot of sex, it involves a lot of stuff, but it's more of a like over the top action, like hyper violent Quentin Tarantino sort of style thing. So it's like it's not about sex. It's just a crazy blend of all this stuff. I could see how you can be confused. The guy probably got real heated or got real into the scene, and I probably teased him, and that's why he gave me that 2-star. He's like, man, I was getting off to this, but that asshole, he had to end it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's like, but as far as like grammar, I think I have a 1-star where someone said I need to take writing classes, but I think that same someone was someone I might have pissed off doing something else. So.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with reviews is that a friend of mine, Rhiannon, as I mentioned before, she has a philosophy where she looks at the reviews for like maybe 2 weeks tops, and then stops. Yeah. And I tend to do the same thing, but I tend to be obsessive compulsive, and I will check my sales rankings sometimes, which occasionally
I do that too.
Is supposedly a bad thing because it can lower your ranking.
But checking your stuff?
Supposedly. Yeah, because it keeps track of the view count on the server.
It keeps track of the view count and how many people make a purchase per the view.
Yeah, something like that. So, but I'm not sure how Amazon algorithms work.
Do you use any other tools like Kody Spy or anything?
I used Book Report, the Google Chrome extension for a while, but then I apparently reached my total earnings limit on there, and they wanted me to pay for it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay for that, so I can't afford it right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I tried to use the Kody Spy. I haven't used the Book Report thing. The Kody Spy, I think I don't know. Like that thing costs like $40. I was like, is this thing even worth it? The person who recommended it to me was what's his name? If I tell you, he writes a lot of Dying Days, the Dying Days guy.
Dying Days. I'm not sure who that is.
Rosamilia, Chuck Buddha. You know who Chuck?
Armin Rosamila?
Yeah, Armin.
Yeah, I know him, but I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I do know who he is.
Okay, him and Chuck Buddha, they talk Kody Spy, all sorts of stuff. I was like, okay, and they recommended it to me. It's I wonder if they got some money for the referral though, because they should have, because I took it, and it kind of works, but I think it's off because I checked my own stuff. I'm like, I made a little bit more than just $5, but okay, I
also feel like Amazon might their algorithms and their programs might not be very user friendly to external programs either.
No,
so.
I imagine not. And yeah, because what it's trying to do is take advantage of any loose data that it could be exposed and give it to you. And I don't know. It's kind of hit and miss. And to see now I'm not going to get any referral money for Kody Spy because I'm not really promoting it. I'm just... Honestly, it's kind of like, I feel like what it does is it also lets you know what keywords are trending, but you can easily find out just by trying to like search or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I tend to do when I am putting out a new book.
So it's like,
type in.
Why did I even get it?
Yeah,
look at that.
I tend to type in the first word of the like horror or zombie, and then the keywords that pop up. The top ones, I just take that
and put that in there. You put exactly. Put that in your keywords. And the other thing, if you're self-published or if you're an indie publisher, which all that means is you're a dude or a collection of people that are using these same tools usually that everyone else is using. If you keywords and the description, use the words right, all that helps, right? All that helps.
I mean, you have to get your product seen by people first before they even consider buying it. So that's keywords and a good blurb and a good cover or a good presentation will help attract people to look at the book, and then if they like it, they'll buy it. If they like the sample, they'll buy it, or sometimes they'll buy it without reading the description and then get mad at you because it was about whatever.
Okay. Well, now we mentioned briefly in the beginning about Duppy. Do you remember anything about it at all?
Not a whole lot. I just
Okay.
remember a little bit about it. Maybe
Okay.
I
I,
remember the spirit,
I skimmed through
but
it again, just briefly, to see how it kind of relates to your current stuff. And you're right, it does have it has young characters, really boys.
yeah.
If I were to repitch it, it'd be like in this climate, I'd be like, think Stranger Things, think Stranger Things.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
these boys are trying to. Uh, it's like they're trying to bring back some girl back from the dead using some ritual, and it works or something, but it's not how it should be. Of course, it never is. So I don't know. It's just I could see how you can go from that and going into your young adult stuff. I was just thinking about that real fast.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, most of the major uh, books or franchises are young adult. I mean, there's Harry Potter, there's Twilight, there's The Hunger Games,
Yeah.
there's Insurgent. I mean, even Stephen King's It, which just got remade into another movie, was about kids.
Kids, you gotta include
Yeah.
kids. All right, motherfuckers. I want to see kids and stories. I want to see a. You know what? I want to do a Deadman's Tome children's book.
A children's book.
I joke about that, but I want to make that happen. no, that's cool. I mean, like, put kids in stories. But are you comfortable with that? I mean, you're comfortable with that when you do young adult, but like, are there limits? Like what are you willing to do? Not willing to do?
I mean, I definitely think there are some limits you should probably abide by, if only because of certain sensitivities when it does come to young people or children. But in terms of young adult and new adult fiction, I think lately the gateways have opened in that, and you see a lot of different kinds of stuff in young adult books lately. I mean, read one about that was basically The Bachelor set in a war-torn America.
Ooh.
And some of it was
Oh man, I could
pretty risque. Yeah.
hold on. The Bachelor, set in a war-torn America, with
Yeah,
no
it was
real
called
laws.
The Selection by Kiera Cass.
Oh
Yeah.
man, there's probably some like child brides.
Yeah, it was basically a competition that young women in this war-torn America get a chance to be married to the prince of the new America. And
Wow.
yeah, so, and I
And
mean,
it's
there's
like
other stuff.
televised. It's like a televised event and everything.
Televised.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I mean, even the Hunger Games, it's like the youngest kid in the Hunger Games, I think she was 10, and I mean, the Hunger Games is a brutal book if you've ever read it.
I think, for that series, I think the books do a better job than the films of portraying the brutality of it.
And I mean, the thing is, I think you can get away with certain stuff if the world is built properly to display how horrible this is, or how screwed up this is, or how wrong this may be in our world, but it is sort of normalized in their world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, but I do think like, if you're gonna be writing young adult, you have to be a little bit careful about what you're doing, but normally you can figure out what you're doing just by reading other young adult stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier, briefly, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but that's okay. As a gay man, do you feel that working on the books, or writing, just being in the writing industry alone, do you feel that there's any pushback, or do you feel anything that it affects anything at all about your writing, about your experience in the industry?
I don't. I personally have never had an experience like that, except with one person who sort of became my stalker. But
Oh,
uh,
and those are the ones, right? Isn't that cliche
yeah,
though? Isn't that a stereotype?
yeah, something like that.
Oh, he might.
But
Oh, so he's deep in the closet. That's what he is. Would you say
I
that?
don't know.
You know?
He's deep. This person is deep within something because
Oh,
they're
Res-
very
he's deep on a restraining order though, right?
not not for me, but
Damn, sounds
not
like
not any
okay.
not anywhere near me. The
Sorry.
person lives on like a
I am
floor near
terribly
me.
sorry. I have a habit of digressing
Oh no,
the
you're perfectly fine.
moment something comes up. That's interesting. I'm like that. I'm like a hawk. Sometimes I pick up something like, oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but generally I've had pretty good experiences in the publishing industry, and I haven't had any um, like issues with me being gay. I mean, I know some people have had issues with it in terms of submitting content and then wanting to change entire relationships into it, into like gay relationships into straight relationships, or just remove them at all, or completely, I should say.
Hmm.
But um, my experiences are very slim because I haven't dealt with a lot of traditional publishing in the past, uh, let's say 5 years. Uh, so, but I think it just depends on who you're working with and who surrounds you in your work environment. It can
Okay.
either be really good or really bad. It just depends on what's going
Hmm.
on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you think maybe if you were in traditional publishing a little bit more, you might have experienced? Because I don't know. It seems like we're just hypothetical, hypothetical world over here, and not like what would happen if anything happened. But
Yeah. I mean, I think um, because of all the progress that has been made recently,
mhm,
um, with in regards to, you know, gay rights coming to the, the forefront
yeah,
and such, I think it's gotten a lot better, but I'm not sure how I can say it would affect me if I decided to go back into traditional publishing, which I
yeah,
may be doing that in the future. But
yeah. I could see
it
that.
hi- it highly depends. My ability to do that highly depends on if I can sell anything to someone.
Mm, gotcha. Because I mean, when you go traditional, you also take a pay cut in a way, right? I mean, you get that advance, but I hear that advance is not as much as it used to be.
I think it honestly depends on who you're going with because um, Tony, I can't remember what her exact name is. Tome Yedeman, I believe her name is. She's a young adult author as well, but she wrote the book called Children of Blood and Bone, and I think she
Oh, that's
got
a good
like
title. That
a
is a good
seven
title.
a seven figure advance for it.
Whoa,
Yeah, and she just recently sold movie rights for another seven figure because of
man,
the
that
fact.
seven figure advance.
Yeah, and I think she's around my age too, which is like amazing. So power
I'm,
to
I'm
her.
I'm doing it wrong. I need to start writing young adult.
Yeah, I think it's a huge market that people are kind of not paying attention to enough
Hmm.
sometimes. But I think I think the more eyes you can have on a book, the more likely you'll have better chances with it. Um, which is like going back to what I said
I
about Harry
wonder.
Potter and
I'm
Hunger
thinking
Games and
now.
stuff.
I'm hearing this. I'm thinking. I wonder if there's a Deadman's Tome anthology that I could re-skew keywords and category as a young adult. That wouldn't see. Now I'm thinking, how can I play the system? But but every do you ever catch yourself doing that? Like with a title that's not moving lately, like it hasn't maybe lost traction or something. You're just like, do I need to tweak something? Do I need to tweak a keyword or tweak a category? Like what's going on here? Like it's not moving.
Yeah, I've honestly considered that for one series of mine, but I haven't actually gone to the effort to do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's my fantasy series, The Adventures of Carmen De La Rosa. Um,
Yeah,
but I haven't done anything about that yet. So
yeah, it's a fantasy
I can't.
series, but depending on
Yeah,
the content, you could probably skew it as dark fiction, dark. you know.
Yeah.
Maybe even
Definitely.
horror. If,
Yeah.
So it has elves. I don't know. I haven't read it. Maybe it has elves or flying pigs. I have no idea. Orcs. But maybe they're doing some brutal stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it.
Maybe
Like
it's
I
young
said,
adult.
I could technically maybe kind of retool it in a way, but my thing is, when I'm done with the project, I don't really like going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like some authors who just want to keep going
That's
on to
neat.
the next
I mean,
thing.
I respect that. I respect that too. Now, of course, my job and I feel like it's my job as the publisher, is to be aware of what's going on and to revisit it every now and then if I can, and maybe skew it this way. And I feel bad when a project doesn't go well, doesn't sell well. There's a few that don't really seem to move. They just sort of hover around. And it's like, okay, let's push you. Let's find a way. I have to say, though, since Kindle Unlimited, a lot of the titles are getting reads. Nice. Not the number that I want, but it's getting up there. It's good. So I see that more awareness is going on. It's growing more. So I'm looking forward to what happens at the end of that. But I don't know. See, now I'm just talking about myself. That's stupid.
You're perfectly fine. But no, I understand that completely in that you do have to sometimes go back to other stuff especially to reevaluate, like, technically what you may have done wrong or what you could have done differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with self-publishing, is that you always have to be constantly learning. 3 years ago, self-publishing was different. Or not even 3 years ago. Let's rephrase this. 7 years ago, self-publishing was different. You could put a book on Amazon and make hundreds of dollars.
Because you were the first in the pool. You were the first one there.
I used to make $700-800 a month on Kindle.
Wow.
When Kindle first started getting big.
Damn.
But I don't make that anymore because there's so many authors on Kindle now, and which is a good thing, but at the same time, it's also sometimes not a good thing because you have to butt heads against other people in terms of.
I can imagine it gets real competitive, and as long as people are, I guess, respectful about it and they try to promote each other, that's helpful. Now,
yeah, definitely.
What happens though? Sometimes people get real competitive and they like sort of stabbing at each other.
That's scary to me because I'm. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm the type of person that I do get competitive, and sometimes I get stupid competitive, and I hate that. And I catch myself like a little late. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Pump the brakes. What? But like sometimes I'll get competitive and I catch it, and then I play it off of like maybe like a WWE style like promo thing. Like I just make it like a bit, or make it look like it's something more than what it really is. But it's just sometimes I get competitive. Like, what happens then? Like, what happens when you get competitive in this market? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think good friendly competition is always good, but I have heard horror stories about authors saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or believing the wrong thing. Oof. And they have gone through entire campaigns. I mean, this is especially common in young adult, where the young adult market, where I have seen authors literally tear each other apart.
I've seen that too. Very recently.
It's scary.
Authors I know over political reasons, and I'm like, why are you guys going at this? And I'm not naming names. This person knows someone. This person knows someone. And you know what? I probably published all of them, except for one. Who is living in the past? And I'm just like, okay, hold on. All you guys work together to some degree, and you like each other somewhat, at some level. But on this issue, you guys can't stand each other. Okay. Like, this isn't like a Thanksgiving dinner. You all don't have to be at this table and sit and see each other. It's Facebook. Stop talking to each other. Why? Stop it. Go time out.
The unfollow button exists for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, like, hold on here. You think about especially anthologies, since I publish a lot of anthologies. It's a horror magazine, but lately it's pretty much become just anthologies, which is okay, fine. But You think for a second, like, okay, let's say you, Kody, when you were publishing Demonic Tome, did you even know who the other people were?
No,
Probably not.
because Facebook wasn't a thing back then.
Facebook was a thing. But even now, let's say someone else published in like Deadman's Tome Shitfest may not know the other authors. They're not required to know the other authors. They don't need to even know if they agree. Now, if someone says, "Oh, I believe this," or "I think this," I think they have a problem with it. Okay, you don't have to like the guy. "Oh, I don't like his views. I don't want to support him." Well, figure out what you want to do with that. Okay, and you come back to me, because it's not really about you supporting him. It's also you supporting yourself, because we're all in this. Like, anthologies are a sticky thing, because like we're all in this thing together, you know? Yeah, we're all one collective body on a ship, and we're trying to get that ship to sell. So we don't want it to be a freaking Titanic here. So figure out what, you know.
Jack could have fit on that board. That sort of thing. Yeah.
It's like,
so yeah, you don't want to start poking holes in your life raft while the other people are trying to plug them up.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Which usually in those situations, so those are like, I don't know, but those are, I don't really see that happen too much. If it does, if it happens more often than I think, then I guess I ignore it. I guess I stay away from it.
Yeah. I don't like drama that much. So I mean, I will see the drama and I will absorb it a little bit, and then I'll be like, okay, and then I just like follow the thread or whatever.
Yeah.
But but no, I don't like drama for the most part.
Oh, yeah,
so.
like real drama, like, and I'm going to frame it in a way, because I used to work at a psych facility for adolescents, okay? And anyone who went to high school knows this reference real fast. Any drama that's like a bunch of high school teenage girls, where it's like a bunch of bickering back and forth, oh, she did this, she did that, oh, she did this, any of that stuff, oh, put that stuff away. I have no time for that. I don't have time for. Now, if it's like competitive fun stuff, like if it's like almost like a WWE like promo thing, like Marchese and I used to do this. They were so fun. Like, oh, you don't do this or you don't do that. I thought it was all fun. I think he thought it was all fun. I don't know. Maybe we hurt each other's feelings. I have no idea. Sometimes kayfabe goes too real. I don't know. But those things can be fun at times. I'm sorry. I'm just, the real drama, the real stuff, I don't have time for it. I don't like dealing with that. You know?
Well, and I mean, the thing with in our culture and society today is like, you can say one thing wrong and it can blow up big time.
Oh yeah.
Very fast.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to, for me personally and for other people, I think you have to pick and choose your battles very.
Oh yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do. And
I mean, there are more ways to communicate your feelings on a matter than just posting them on Facebook.
Oh, exactly. And the thing I hate about posts, it's people are reading it in the voice they think you're saying it in, and I hate that. So, like on these podcasts, these are totally unscripted. Okay. There's no real structure necessarily. There's a free-flowing conversation. There's no pre-planned questions. You came in, we talk, whatever. I might have said something you don't like, or I might have said something on another podcast you don't like, or maybe it was a joke. Maybe it just happens. But at least my tone of voice, at least I can come off in a way, or at least explain it in a way where I'm not coming like. I don't think I ever came at you in this podcast. I don't think I ever come at any of my guests. You know, I would never do that. But I'm sure if you were to take the transcript, it would sound differently. Like, for example, how many times I say "fuck" or "motherfucker"? I'm sorry if you don't like that language.
I don't mind
it just
at all.
Comes out naturally sometimes. If you were to put that on paper, it's like, damn, this guy is mad. But the way I say it, like, you could say "motherfucker," or you could say, "Oh, go fuck yourself, motherfucker." You know, like you can say it in a mean way. You know, you could say it in a way that's joking, or the guy doesn't mean anything ill by it.
Yeah.
It's, so
And
that's
the
that's
failure
why
of
that's why I
communication
like this. If and what I want to do now and think about this, if I do have beef with someone, and they'll probably say no. Come on this show, man. Let's talk about it because I bet you it's not what you think it is. But I don't think that would ever happen because I usually don't get in beef fights like that or drama fights or anything. But well, what else do you do besides write?
I work at a pet store.
Ooh, pet store.
As a cashier, yes.
You got pets?
So, yes, I have pets.
What kind of pets?
I have a cat. So.
Ooh, a cat. Now, do you have a cat man?
Cat? No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. I need to tell you about this guy. His name is Mark Casey. He's an author. He's been published by DEADMAN'S, Tome, and Unnerving. Have you heard of Unnerving?
It sounds familiar.
Okay. I don't know if he was published in Deadlights. No. Unnerving, DEADMAN'S, Tome, and a few other places. But he has a cat man. He knows a guy. He claims to know a grown ass man that's a cat. I don't know.
Oh, you mean like a furry?
Yeah, like a
Sort
furry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about. I'm not 100%. I'm like, I don't know, man. What grown ass man dressed up as a cat? And he was like talking about it. I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if it's Marchese in a suit or if it's someone else that Marchese knows about. But yeah, there's a cat man in this story. Yeah. So any other pets?
No, I don't have any other pets. My roommate has another cat, but basically it's just cats. But I love all animals for the most part. So that's kind of what drew me to working at a pet store. So cool. I mean, I cashier, but I get to see all the animals as they come in and that sort of thing. So. Well,
I'll tell you what. You sound like an animal lover. You definitely don't want to listen to the podcast where I go in detail about the cat that I had that had essentially 3 assholes. The cat got into a fight, I think. It got bit on its rear end. Something happened, and its hair was all gone. Its skin was gone near its ass. And, yeah, it pretty much had I don't know what the technical term is, what the medical term is, but it had a hole on its ass track.
Ew, that's not good.
It was the rankest, mustardy shit you've ever seen from a cat, I'm sure. But you work at a pet store, so I'm pretty sure you've seen all sorts of stuff. But this stuff smelled like it came directly from the gut. Because it probably did. And, oh, yeah, some hard... It's a tragic story. It's a tragic story. I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you. It's so sad. It ends in a bad way.
That's not good.
Yeah, you would hate me and be like, oh, I'm an animal lover. Why do you have to put the animal down?
Oh, you'd be surprised some of the stuff I hear at the pet store from pet people. So,
oh, man.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's kind of bad.
They don't have they have CPS, Child Protective Services, but they don't have like animal protective services, do they?
I don't think so. I think they're working to make new laws about that, but I'm not sure.
I'll be on that. Canine Protective Services. Sir, you've been slapping your dog in the face. So it's my dog. Guess what? Now it's Texas' dog? Oh, you know what's going to happen with that dog. We're just going to put it down. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. Not a working system. Damn it, this ends on a bad note. I'm sorry, Mr. Boy.
Well, you're okay.
Damn it. End this podcast on a downer. Hey, are you working on anything good? Come on, we need some uplifting. Work on anything good?
I'm working on 2 things right now.
Okay.
Juggling between 2 things. I am working on, they're both young adult. One's called Ghostland, which is about a young woman who goes to her grandmother's funeral, and her grandmother comes back from the dead during the funeral. And then other people start getting hit by what she believes to be gusts of wind, but are actually ghosts possessing people. And
So if
so
a gust of wind were to hit my ass, is that a ghost grabbing my
it could be.
ass?
It could be. So be careful about wind. It's kind of shifty.
Oh,
Um,
I'm
and then
gonna
the
I'm gonna press
sorry.
charges on that wind. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, what do you do with that? Okay, okay,
Then the
cool.
other one is a game lit novel called Alt Control Enter. It's kind of in the lit
Game lit
RPG,
novel. Okay, I
kind of like lit RPG, sort of.
okay, yeah, because I asked Mercedes about that. I think you listened to that podcast.
Yeah,
I
I
asked
did.
Mercedes about RPG lit. What is RPG lit? Because it's something I saw recently, and it caught my eye. I was like, "What is this?" Because it seems to be booming. I need to capitalize on this. Look into this.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean the recent success of Ready Player One is kind of, I think, reviving that genre a little bit. I don't know much about Ready Player One, but I think it's a game lit RPG sort of.
you know
Maybe.
what? They probably I haven't read it either, but
So
if it's game related, they probably put it in that category, and it may not even have all the mechanics that it would typically
yeah,
have, which may
but
piss
this
some people off. But
yeah, this one I'm referring as a game lit novel because it doesn't have lit RPG elements, but it's about a young woman who gets trapped in her favorite video game after she goes in to a gaming competition in an effort to save her dying mother
okay,
with the $1 million prize money.
that that's a good story. Next Deadman's Tome anthology after Conspiracy is going to be game lit.
Yeah,
If that ship hasn't sailed by that time, it's always a month late. I always feel like a month late.
yeah. I mean,
Conspiracy, it seems like it's. I don't know what's going to happen with that. There's a lot of buzz around Conspiracy right now because of what YouTube's been doing with conspiracy channels. People like conspiracy stuff. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, Mr. Boy, that's around the time we kind of wrap up here. Do you have anything you want to say before we part ways, man? Before we stop this stream?
not that I can think of, other than I am having another book blitz or a book blitz for When They Came in April, so you can watch for that. It'll start around the 23rd.
Oh,
So-
you know what? That's something else. I want to ask you. I guess I could do that real fast before. Okay, so I spoke with this guy named Tapia. I don't know if you met him. Mr. Tapia. He does a Hindered Souls press, which is also a small press.
Yeah.
This guy, he hustles. He hustles hard. He goes to conventions and sells his books at conventions. And
Yeah.
that's how he makes his money. That's just. Have you done that? I mean, have you ever sold?
I've done conventions before. I haven't done them recently, mind you, but I have done them before, and I have sold books at conventions before. I find that they're a lot of fun, but their upfront costs are kind of high in terms of the fact that you don't always make a return on your income very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like going to conventions, and I like meeting people and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess last thing, the best place for a self-published author to, I guess, try to sell their stuff. I mean, besides just Kindle, but or Amazon, but you know, to push it, like I don't know, like doing a takeover or promote it on a Facebook group, or like what would you recommend?
There's 3 places I'm using right now. One is Banded Dystopian Authors, which is a Facebook group that has like 5,000 plus people. They deal with like dystopian apocalyptic fiction. The second one I'd recommend is Espresso Book Tours. That's Expresso with an X instead of an EX. It's just X. They do book tours and book blitzes and cover reveals and stuff like that. And then I'm also using YA Bound Book Tours, which is doing my book blitz. So I definitely recommend looking those 3 people up if you write in the apocalyptic horror genres or something like that, or even the young adult genres. They should be able to help you a lot.
All right, man. That's it. We have to part ways. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
You're fine.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, why haven't you pressed that like button? Why haven't you subscribed yet? Come on, if you made it this far, that means you like what you're hearing, right? Or maybe you passed out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Kody, it was great talking to you. Same thing like Mercedes. We worked together a long time ago, like 10 years ago, and then like we finally now talk like almost face to face, almost. I like that. It's kind of like a weird reunion thing, and that's cool. That's cool.
It's very cool. Yes.
All right. Well, you're welcome to come back anytime if any new developments happen, or if you want to shoot the shit about another subject. I'm open for that too.
So, awesome. Thank you.
All right. With that said, y'all take it easy.
Okay.